Captain stormed through the metallic corridors of the starship Aurora, her boots echoing loudly on the polished steel floors. The hum of the engines felt like a heartbeat under her feet, slow and steady, yet today it made her blood boil. Every panel she passed flickered in the dim, bluish light, casting long shadows that seemed to follow her, almost as if the ship itself was watching her anger grow. Her crew had failed again. They had failed to secure the new fuel cells, the most critical part of their mission to chart the unclaimed regions of the ardent expanse. And the cost had been severe. One damaged engine module, a near meltdown, and precious time wasted that could have been used to reach the next star system. Her mind raced as she entered the maintenance bay, the door sliding open with a hiss. There he was, Lieutenant leaning lazily against a work table, one boot resting on a crate, a grin playing on his face. Tools lay scattered around him, half-finished repairs ignored. Felt a surge of frustration so intense it made her fists clench. How could anyone be so careless? The mission was at stake, yet here he was, treating it as if it were some trivial game. As she barked, her voice sharp enough to make the surrounding machines vibrate. "Do you even understand what you've done? Do you know how close we were to losing the whole engine core?" Looked up, one eyebrow raised, a lazy smirk still lingering. "Relax, Captain," he said with a teasing tone. "It's not like the ship exploded. Yet." Her teeth ground together. "Yet," she repeated, disbelief and anger intertwining in her tone. "Do you even care about the crew, about the mission?" He shrugged, nonchalant, as if responsibility were a word he had never learned. "I do care, just differently," he replied, tilting his head with a hint of mockery. Something inside her snapped. Her usual calm, disciplined demeanor shattered under the weight of her fury. The sparks of her anger were no longer just words, they demanded action. In a movement she didn't even think about, her hands shot forward, gripping the edge of his uniform pants and pulling sharply. There was a loud rip, the sound of fabric tearing echoing in the metallic bay like a warning. And then she froze. What lay beneath the torn uniform was not what she expected. Skin shimmered like liquid silver, almost translucent, with thin, glowing lines running beneath it like circuits. They pulsed rhythmically, light flowing from his chest to his arms and down his legs in a strange, hypnotic pattern. Her eyes widened, and her anger evaporated instantly, replaced by a cold, sharp shock that gripped her chest like ice. Her mind raced. This was not human, not fully. She had heard rumors, whispers about secret experiments, but never anything this direct, never anything this real. Her breath caught in her throat, and her hands shook slightly as she stepped back, trying to make sense of the impossible sight before her. His grin faltered, the playful arrogance gone, replaced by a subtle tension that made him seem almost vulnerable. His circuits glowed brighter as if sensing her confusion or perhaps his own fear. "I didn't want you to see this," he said softly, almost ashamed. "I didn't choose it, I never asked for it." His anger, which had roared moments ago like a wildfire, now felt like a dying ember. Her heartbeat slowed, replaced by a strange mixture of awe and uncertainty. She had wanted to punish him, to make him feel the weight of his mistake. But what stood before her was no ordinary lieutenant. He was something else, something extraordinary. The hum of the ship felt louder now, and the lights above them seemed to flicker as if acknowledging the moment. His voice, when it came, was quiet, tinged with disbelief and curiosity. "What are you?" He looked at her with eyes that were both human and more than human, and for the first time the mask of humor and ease was gone. I'm not just a man," he whispered. "But I'm still me. I just carry something else inside." The weight of her anger pressed against her chest, but it no longer mattered. In that instant she realized that the person she had been ready to punish could also be the key to something greater, something beyond anything she had known. And she had no idea if she was ready for what that meant. Hands trembled slightly as she took a cautious step closer to. Her anger from moments ago had melted into something entirely different, curiosity mixed with fear, awe, and a strange sense of vulnerability. She had expected defiance, maybe even arrogance. She had not expected this. The silver glow of his skin cast dancing patterns across the maintenance bay, illuminating the scattered tools and the cold metal walls in an otherworldly light. I don't understand," she said softly, her voice barely louder than the hum of the ship. "What are you? What is this?" Her eyes traced the glowing lines that ran like rivers beneath his skin, marveling at the way they pulsed with a quiet rhythm, almost like a heartbeat that wasn't quite human. Shifted uneasily, his usual smirk gone, replaced by something almost fragile. I wasn't supposed to tell anyone, not yet, he admitted, the words breaking from him in a small, hesitant voice. I was part of a project that combined human consciousness with something beyond human. Alien tech, something the Council has been hiding for decades. I didn't choose it, and I certainly didn't want anyone to see me like this. His brow furrowed. She had heard whispers of secret experiments, but this was beyond imagination. You mean you're not fully human? She asked cautiously. No, replied, his voice tinged with a sadness that made her stomach tighten. I'm still me, but my body, it's changed. It's more than flesh now. It carries energy, information, life from a source I can't explain fully. I was supposed to keep it hidden until they decided if I was ready for full integration. His chest tightened. Anger that had roared through her only moments before was now replaced by a heavy weight of confusion and concern. She had wanted to punish him. She had imagined scolding him, making him realize the danger he put the ship in. And yet, here he stood, not broken but extraordinary, dangerous in ways she could not even imagine. You've been hiding this from everyone? She whispered. Her voice trembled, caught between fear and awe. She had spent months commanding this crew, trusting them, yet the person she had just wanted to punish held a secret larger than the ship itself. I didn't know how to tell anyone, admitted. I didn't want to be seen as a weapon. I'm still me. I still want to protect this crew, this ship, our mission, but I am more now, and sometimes I don't understand it myself. His mind spun. She could feel the weight of what he had just revealed pressing against her thoughts. Could she still trust him? Could she rely on someone who was no longer just human, but something far beyond? And yet, there was something in the way he looked at her, vulnerable and honest, that made her want to believe him. I don't know what to say, she admitted, her voice soft. I wanted to yell at you, to make you feel what it meant to risk everything, and now... Her words trailed off as she struggled to process what she was seeing. Stepped closer, careful, as if sensing the fragile line between trust and doubt. I am still your lieutenant, he said quietly. I haven't changed who I am inside, I'm still me, and I will still fight for you, for the crew, for this mission. But I am something more, and that can be a gift if we let it be. Swallowed hard, she could feel her heart racing, not with anger, but with something far more complicated. Awe, fear, wonder, and a strange hope. She had spent her life believing that strength came from discipline, from skill, from human courage alone. But what if there was more to it than that? What if someone beyond human, yet still loyal and brave, could change the fate of her mission? The hum of the ship seemed to grow louder, echoing the pulsing energy beneath his skin. She felt a strange connection, as if the ship itself recognized him, and maybe even her, in a way it never had before. The maintenance bay, once cold and metallic, now felt alive with potential, with possibility, with something greater than either of them. Looked at him again, her eyes steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside. I need to understand this, she said finally. I need to understand you. Circuits glowed brighter, almost like a sigh of relief. I'll show you, he said softly. But you have to promise, don't fear it, don't fear me. I am still, but I am also more, and together we can survive what's coming next. For the first time that day, felt a fragile calm settle over her, mixed with awe and curiosity. She had no idea what lay ahead, but one thing was clear. The man she had been ready to punish was now a mystery she had to understand, one that could change everything. Stood in the dim light of the maintenance bay, her gaze fixed on as he slowly stepped toward her. Each movement he made sent faint ripples of glowing energy across his skin, and she could feel it almost like a magnetic pull. She wanted to step back to keep her distance, but something deep inside her held her rooted to the spot. The anger she had felt earlier was now a distant memory, replaced by a raw, unsteady curiosity. His voice broke the silence, soft and hesitant. I need to tell you everything. You deserve the truth, even if it's hard to believe. He swallowed, a human gesture that still somehow made him feel real despite the alien glow under his skin. I wasn't born like this. I was chosen for something else. The Council, he paused, searching for the right words. They merged me with an experimental alien neural interface. It's a symbiosis, half human, half something beyond human. I was meant to be the first of a new kind of soldier, capable of surviving situations no normal human could. His heart pounded, her mind struggled to grasp the enormity of what he was saying. "A soldier?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "They made you into this?" She gestured at the shimmering patterns across his body. "Without your consent." Looked down, shame flickering across his features. "I didn't have a choice. I didn't even know it was happening until it was too late. And then I couldn't tell anyone, not the crew, not even you. I didn't want to be seen as a weapon, not someone dangerous. I wanted to be just me." His chest tightened. She had spent years commanding the crew, teaching them trust, discipline, and courage. And now, the man she had trusted most, the person she had been ready to punish, carried a secret so immense that it could change everything. The anger she had felt at his negligence now felt almost insignificant compared to the revelation of who he truly was. "You've been hiding this all this time," she murmured, her voice trembling with a mix of awe and fear. "And you've been here with us pretending to be human." Circuits pulsed, a soft glow responding to the emotions in the room. "I wanted to help," he said quietly. "I still want to protect the crew, the ship, the mission, but now I can do more than any human could. I can sense damage before it happens. I can survive environments no one else could. I can," he hesitated, looking into her eyes. "I can save lives in ways you don't even realize yet, but it comes at a cost. I can't fully control this body all the time. Sometimes it reacts before I do. Sometimes it frightens me." Felt her chest tighten with empathy. She had never seen him like this, vulnerable, honest, almost afraid of himself. She realized suddenly that the man she had just wanted to scold was now revealing his deepest truth, and it took courage far greater than any battle she had faced. She said softly, stepping closer, "I don't know if I understand everything yet, but I see you. I see who you are, and I trust you." Her words were simple, but they carried the weight of every battle, every mission, every hardship she had endured as captain. For the first time, she felt the fragile thread of connection between them, stronger than fear or anger, forged in trust and revelation. Circuits glowed brighter, a warm, gentle light filling the bay. He reached out slowly, a hesitant gesture that mirrored her own uncertainty. "If we face what's coming next, I need you to trust me, not just as your lieutenant, but as what I've become. I don't want to lose the crew, and I don't want to lose you." His heart raced, but the fear in her chest was replaced by something else. Hope. Here was a man, a being more than human, willing to risk everything to protect those he cared about. And for the first time, she realized that their strength didn't come from weapons or technology alone. It came from trust, courage, and the willingness to embrace the extraordinary. The hum of the ship seemed to echo around them, a soft vibration that matched the rhythm of his glowing body. The maintenance bay, once cold and sterile, now felt alive with possibility. For the first time, understood that what she had thought was danger might actually be their greatest hope. "I trust you," she said finally, her voice steady, though her mind still swirled with questions. "And we'll figure this together. Whatever comes next, we'll face it as a team." His glow dimmed slightly, as if relieved. "Together," he whispered, and for the first time that day felt that their mission, their crew, and even the vast, unknown expanse of space might not be as impossible as it had seemed. The aurora hummed steadily through the cold darkness of the uncharted sector, its lights casting pale reflections across the metallic walls. Stood at the bridge, hands gripping the console, her mind still racing from the revelations about. She had spent the last few hours trying to understand what he was, to reconcile the glowing, alien patterns beneath his skin with the man she had trusted for years. But now, there was no time for reflection. "Captain," the communications officer shouted, "we've got incoming signals, unknown vessels fast approaching. They're not responding to hails." His pulse quickened. The sector was supposed to be unclaimed. Nothing had been reported here for decades, yet the sensors screamed with life, hundreds of ships closing in with precise coordination. She turned to who was standing behind her, calm despite the flashing red alerts. "What is that?" she asked, her voice edged with tension. He studied the readings, circuits under his skin pulsing softly in response. "They're drones, autonomous combat units likely designed to hunt high-energy signatures," he said quietly. His gaze flicked to hers, steady and serious. "They can detect me." felt a shiver run down her spine. The energy flowing through him, the thing she had been afraid to even touch, was now a beacon in space, drawing danger toward them. She had trained for battles, for emergencies, for hostile encounters, but nothing like this. She realized that the very secret that had made her doubt him moments ago was now the key to their survival. "Crew battle stations, shields up, ready all weapons," she commanded, her voice firm. The crew moved with practiced precision, but the fear was palpable. This was no ordinary attack. It was something new, something beyond their experience. The first drones slammed into the outer hull, their energy blasts lighting the bridge in sudden flashes of green and orange. The ship shuddered violently, throwing consoles off balance. Sparks flew as the shields strained under the assault. Stomach dropped. Every instinct screamed to fight back, yet the sheer speed and coordination of the drones made traditional combat seem useless. Stepped forward, his body glowing brighter, the alien circuits under his skin thrumming with power. "Stand back," he said, a calm authority in his tone that surprised her. He raised his hands toward the approaching drones, and suddenly a shimmering field of energy erupted from him, pushing the first wave away from the hull like ripples in water. The drones' weapons faltered, confused by the energy signature, and many were knocked off course. Sphere shifted to awe. She had seen in training exercises, in simulations. But this was beyond human capability. His body, this strange fusion of human and alien technology, moved in ways that seemed to bend physics, anticipating attacks before they happened. And yet there was strain written across his features, subtle tension beneath the glow. "They're adapting," shouted, sweat forming at his temples despite the energy radiating from him. "If we don't act fast, they'll overwhelm the shields." His mind raced. The ship was vulnerable, the crew in danger, and the drones were relentless. She realized that the only way to survive was to trust him completely, to rely on the being she had only just begun to understand. She stepped closer, placing a hand briefly on his arm. "Do what you must," she said quietly. "I trust you." His circuits pulsed brightly, almost like a heartbeat responding to her words. "Hold the line," he shouted, unleashing a pulse of energy that surged across the hull, sending drones spinning helplessly into the void. The crew cheered, but the danger was far from over. Another wave approached, faster and more precise than the first. His mind focused, every lesson she had learned as a captain blending with the trust she now felt in. She coordinated the crew's defense, anticipating his moves, while he guided the energy field with precision. Together, human and beyond human, they formed a synergy neither had experienced before. As the last wave of drones was repelled, the ship shuddered once more, silent now except for the hum of engines. The crew stared in awe, catching their breath. Turned two, whose body still glowed faintly, circuits dimming to a soft pulse. "You saved us," she whispered. Shook his head slightly, exhaustion in his posture. "We saved each other," he replied softly, and for the first time saw the depth of what he had become. He wasn't just a soldier or a machine, he was something entirely new, something extraordinary. And in that moment she knew their survival and their future depended not on weapons nor skill alone, but on trust, courage, and the bond between human and beyond human. The Aurora drifted through the calm after the storm, but the air on the bridge was anything but peaceful. The crew's faces were pale, their hands still gripping consoles as if afraid to let go. The swarm of drones had been repelled, but knew it had only been temporary. Somewhere in the dark void of space, more danger waited. And this time, she realized, they couldn't rely on the ship's weapons alone. She looked at whose silver body still shimmered faintly, the alien circuits under his skin pulsating gently like a living heartbeat. He had just saved them all with abilities that no human could match, and yet he looked tired, almost fragile. Despite the awe she felt, she also sensed the burden he carried. The energy flowing through him was not limitless, and every action cost him. "Captain," he said softly, sensing her gaze, "there's another cluster of drones, far more advanced. They'll reach us in minutes. The weapons alone won't stop them. I can fight them, but I need you to act with me. Trust me." Took a deep breath, feeling her pulse quicken. Trust had been tested before, her crew, her decisions, but never like this. The being before her was more than human, more than machine. And yet she had no choice. She had to leap. "I trust you," she said firmly, her voice carried through the bridge, steady and commanding. "Let's do this, together." Circuits pulsed brighter at her words, a soft glow filling the room as if reacting to her courage. He moved to the viewport, hands raised, and a field of shimmering energy expanded outward, enveloping the ship. The approaching drone struck the field, only to be deflected like pebbles on water. But these were faster, more intelligent than the last wave, and they adapted quickly, probing for weaknesses. Felt a mixture of fear and awe. This was no ordinary battle. The ship shook as drone energy struck the hull repeatedly. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the crew worked frantically to maintain stability. Every second counted, and she realized she had to synchronize with, to anticipate his actions, to become part of the unusual rhythm he created. She shouted, pointing to a cluster of drones attempting to flank them. "Left side, focus there." He adjusted immediately, his body glowing brighter, circuits weaving intricate patterns that reached through the ship's hull and into the void outside. The drones collided with a shimmering barrier, spinning helplessly before being flung into the emptiness of space. But it wasn't enough. Another wave was already advancing, faster than the last, and could feel the tension in the room rising. "This is it," she muttered, her heart racing. "Now or never." She stepped closer to him, placing her hand lightly on his glowing arm. A jolt of warmth shot through her, almost like the pulse of life itself. "We can do this," she whispered. "Together." Nodded, a small, exhausted smile forming. "Together," he echoed. He focused, letting the energy from his body extend further than before, creating a wide, protective field that enveloped the ship entirely. The drones slammed into the barrier, caught in the force of his alien power, unable to penetrate it. One by one, they were neutralized, their lights fading into the dark void. Felt her chest rise and fall, relief mingling with exhilaration. The ship shuddered as the last drone was flung away, leaving the bridge in tense silence. The crew stared at, stunned, as the soft glow of his circuits dimmed to a gentle pulse, almost like a human heartbeat returning to calm. "You did it," said softly, awe in her voice. "You saved us, all of us." He shook his head slightly, exhaustion written across his features. "We saved each other," he replied. The words were quiet, yet filled with meaning. He had risked everything, revealing himself fully, and in return she had trusted him completely. His gaze softened as she looked at him. The alien circuits, the shimmering energy, it was no longer frightening. It was extraordinary. It was hope. And she realized for the first time that the strength of their mission, the survival of the crew, and even the path ahead depended not just on weapons or strategy, but on trust, courage, and the willingness to embrace the impossible. The crew slowly returned to their stations, the tension easing, but the lesson lingered. The bond between human and beyond human, between captain and lieutenant, had been forged in fire and trust. And as the stars stretched into streaks outside the viewport, knew one thing for certain. Together they were unstoppable. The bridge of the Aurora was quiet now, save for the low hum of the engines and the soft blinking of consoles. The crew was exhausted but alive, and for the first time in hours there was a moment to breathe. Leaned against the railing, her eyes following the streaks of distant stars as the ship drifted through the uncharted sector. She still couldn't fully process everything she had seen. Her lieutenant, the man she had almost punished, was no longer just human. He was something extraordinary, something beyond her understanding. He stood a few paces away, circuits glowing softly under his skin, a quiet energy filling the room. Unlike before, it wasn't intimidating. It was steady, reassuring, almost comforting. Realized she was no longer afraid. Instead, she felt a strange connection, an unspoken bond formed in the chaos they had just survived. She said, her voice low, hesitant. I never thought I'd see anything like you. I didn't expect this." He turned his glowing eyes toward her, a small, tired smile touching his lips. "I didn't want to hide it forever, but I was afraid you'd see me as something less than human or worse, a threat." Shook her head. "No, I see you. Not just the glowing circuits or the alien part. I see you. The person you've always been, the man who fights for the crew, who cares about every life on this ship. That hasn't changed, even if everything else about you has." For the first time, seemed to relax, the tension in his shoulders easing. He moved a little closer, his glow dimming to a soft, steady pulse that seemed to mirror a heartbeat. "You trust me?" he asked quietly, almost vulnerable. "I do," said, surprising herself with the firmness of her voice. "I trust you, and I think I'm starting to understand. Your strength, your difference, it's not just power, it's something more. Something that can save lives, including mine." Circuits flickered gently, a subtle acknowledgement of her words. "I've always wanted to protect you," he admitted, his voice soft. "Even before this, before the transformation, I never wanted you to doubt me. I didn't know how to show it without frightening you." His chest tightened. She had spent so long leading, so long keeping her emotions in check, but now she realized that trust and connection were just as powerful as strategy and skill. She stepped closer, the warmth from his energy brushing against her in a way that felt alive, comforting. "You don't have to hide anymore," she whispered. "I see you, all of you, and I'm not afraid." For a long moment they stood together, silent except for the soft hum of the ship and the faint pulsing of his alien circuits. There was no need for words. The bond between them had grown deeper than anything she had experienced in her life. The fear of the unknown, the uncertainty about his abilities, the danger of the outside universe, all of it felt smaller now. Together they were stronger than anything that might come. Finally spoke, his voice low and steady. "We're not just captain and lieutenant anymore," he said. "We're partners, not in the usual sense, but in a way that matters, in a way that can change the outcome of everything." Nodded, a small smile breaking through the tension that had clung to her all day. "Then let's make sure we do this right, together. No secrets, no fear, just trust." He smiled faintly, the glow of his circuits pulsing gently like a heartbeat in response. "Together," he repeated. As the stars streaked past the viewport, realized that the Aurora was no longer just a ship carrying humans through the unknown. It was a vessel of possibility, a symbol of what could be achieved when trust overcame fear, when courage met the extraordinary. And in that quiet, almost sacred moment, she knew that the bond between them, human and beyond human, was stronger than any danger, brighter than any threat, and more powerful than anything they had faced before. The crew, still unaware of the full extent of his abilities, looked to the captain and her lieutenant with awe, but didn't need their recognition. She had seen the truth, felt the connection, and understood something profound. Strength didn't come from flesh alone. It came from trust, courage, and the willingness to embrace the extraordinary, even when it scared you. And she had found all three. The Aurora glided silently through the endless black of space, the distant stars stretching into brilliant streaks as the ship accelerated. The battle with the drones was over, and the crew, though weary, had survived. The hum of the engines was steady now, a calm rhythm after hours of chaos and fear. Yet on the bridge, the air was charged with something more than relief. It was awe, trust, and a quiet understanding that nothing would ever be the same. Leaned against the railing, her eyes tracing the constellations streaking past. The weight of command, the responsibility for every life aboard, pressed on her as always. But now it felt lighter. Not because the danger was gone, but because she knew they had something extraordinary at their side. Stood beside her, circuits softly glowing under his skin, a living light that seemed to resonate with the ship itself. She turned to him, her gaze steady. "We made it," she said, her voice quiet but full of emotion. "All of us." His glow pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. "Yes," he said softly, "because we did it together, you trusted me, and I—" He paused, searching for the right words. "I hope I didn't let you down." Smiled, a small but genuine smile, and shook her head. "You didn't. You saved us, not just with your abilities, but with your heart, with who you are." Her eyes traced the glowing lines along his arms, her mind still marveling at the alien patterns, the fusion of human and beyond human. "I was afraid at first, yes, but now I see that's our strength. The crew, the ship, us, we're stronger because of you, not in spite of you." Circuits pulsed brighter at her words, a soft warmth spreading from his form, almost like a human sigh. I wanted to protect everyone. I didn't know how to show it before. I was afraid of being seen as something alien, something dangerous. But now," his gaze met hers, steady and full of meaning. "Now I feel like I belong, not just here, but with you, with this crew, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep that safe." His chest tightened with emotion. She had led ships, commanded lives, faced dangers she never imagined. But this moment, this raw, unspoken understanding was unlike anything else. She felt a connection that transcended fear, transcended the ordinary bonds of command. She had found courage, loyalty, and something beyond human, yet fully himself. The crew, now slowly gathering around the bridge, looked on with curiosity and awe. None of them had fully grasped the depth of abilities, nor the bond forming between captain and lieutenant. But the energy in the room was palpable, a quiet recognition that something extraordinary had occurred. The ship itself seemed to hum in acknowledgement, lights shimmering softly along the hull. Turned back to the viewport, watching the stars stretch into lines of light. "We've faced the unknown," she said softly, almost to herself, "and survived. But what we've discovered, it's more than survival. It's the future. A future where humans and the extraordinary can stand together, where courage, trust, and heart matter more than weapons or fear." Reached out, gently brushing her hand with his glowing one. A wave of warmth pulsed through her like the rhythm of life itself. "Then let's face it," he said. "Whatever comes next, together, we're not just survivors, we're more. Together we can be stronger than anything the universe throws at us." Nodded, a sense of certainty settling over her. "Stronger," she echoed. And in that word she felt every fear, every doubt, every challenge dissolve into the infinite possibilities ahead. The ship soared forward, leaving the danger behind, racing toward uncharted stars. And as the first light of a distant system touched the hull, realized something profound. Humanity was not limited to flesh alone. Their courage, their willingness to trust, their capacity to embrace the extraordinary, that was what made them powerful. And in the bond they shared, in the heart of the Aurora itself, she saw the future. A future where humans could rise beyond their limitations, where strength was not just survival, but connection, hope, and the courage to face the unknown. The new dawn was theirs, and together they were unstoppable.